Hello YouTube, my name is Hadi and we're here with the Forward Mind. So in my last two videos I went over the Myers-Briggs personality type indicator as well as gave the explanation for the mother and son archetypes. And if you can remember, I used the Ouroboros as an example, so there was that infinite looping of energy. And in this video I wanted to explain the father and daughter archetypes. So unfortunately the last two videos I haven't really been bridging the gaps necessarily between the Myers-Briggs personality types and the actual archetypes that I've been using to explain the personalities. So in this video I'll be attempting to do that a little bit better. So the first thing you need to understand is the father represents the INTP as well as the ISFJ personalities, and these personalities basically represent culture or the social order, right? So there's a kind of a formal social order that's represented by this archetype. And then with the daughter, it's represented by the ISFP personality as well as the INTJ personality. And these personalities are more focused on pushing boundaries and the emotional expression of their identity and their character, right? So the first thing is unlike the mother and the son archetypes, the father and the daughter archetypes, there's more of a direct opposition and an alienation from one another. So because there isn't that, let's just say 9 months of birth time, and that kind of direct, intuitive connection between the mother and the son, the father and the daughter, their relationship is based more around respect, trust, and it's more of an explicit trust, not an intuitive trust. So it's more of like I'm going to take a leap and trust you, rather than trust is expected, right, with the mother and the son. It's more based on a respect and a trust relationship, right? And because it's based on that, there's more of a indirect or a more opposed point of view between them. But once their differences are basically remedied, there's more of a respect, a kind of not necessarily spoken about respect, but it's definitely there. So with the father archetype, there's more of a let's create a society and place social rules on everybody. Everyone should follow a social rule. So you can think about this as, you know, you walk into Burger King or something, or any fast food chain, and there's a line, right? You're expected to follow that line, and you're expected to wait for your turn, and you're expected to pay because you're there to get some food, right? So there's an invisible social order, right? And then with the daughter's point of view, it's more like, let's push that, let's see how far we can push that and have fun with it, right? So it's like any sort of emotional expression. So you go see a movie and there's like explosions in it, and there's, you know, emotional expression in it, or you go watch a performance. So any form of arts or any form of live performances, there's art there. Right, so there's more of a more flowing, loose, and let me like feel my way through this. Whereas with the father, there's more of a direct and formal, logical based expression, right? So as with the last two videos, I'll be giving a virtual reality representation of this. So hopefully it will help you guys better understand how these archetypes interact and work with one another. And without further ado, let's get right into that. Alright, so we're here in virtual reality, and we'll be explaining the daughter and the father archetypes over here. So the first thing you need to know is the daughter is feminine, right? So there's an emotional tone that's attached to her identity. So everything is felt, so there's a felt sense of reality, right? So this over here in the pink is represented by reality. So these are the physical objects. So you have a physical street with physical vehicles, a physical house, physical trees. Everything is real in the most direct way of experiencing reality, right? And then if you go to the other portion of the daughter, you have vision. So this is vision or want or intuition. It's basically a sense of desire. So what you want to do with this reality, right? So with the daughter, she basically says, okay, I'm going to feel my way through. What do I like in this reality? Well, I really like this car, for example, or I really like the experience of climbing this tree or something, or I really like how the color of this house looks. So there's a physical judgment that's placed on this reality, right? And then over here, there is a desire. So I remember that time when I experienced that drive that we had, and there was this happened, and this happened, and this happened. So these are the thoughts of the father, or the description of that reality. So I remember when he said this, and then he said that, and then this happened, and this happened. So the father is in relation to the daughter an explainer of reality. So if we go to the father's point of view here, he basically represents logic and memory. So logic and memory, and he's dealing with, rather than a physical reality, he's dealing with a metaphysical reality, right? And rather than dealing with logical explanations, he's dealing with emotional feeling tones of the daughter. So the father is saying, let me construct this reality for the daughter. So let me construct it in a way. Let me construct this social order. So if the daughter, from this point of view, says, hey, I feel like driving this car, but she's driving it because, she's driving it how she wants to drive it. She's driving it a little bit crazy. It's disrupting the social order. The father comes in from this point of view, and he says, I can see that, if she drives this car this way, it's going to negatively affect the feelings of everybody else. So I must place a social order. So he places a social order, right? And he places these expectations, right, on the daughter. And it basically regulates the daughter. And then the daughter goes back and says, I want to climb this tree, right? And I want to follow this description. So I want to follow this thought, and then this process, and then this process. So these are the thoughts of the father, the descriptions of reality. And he goes and says, what? I could see into the metaphysical reality and what's possible, right? The possible reality of her climbing that tree. And he says, what? I'm going to allow that to happen. So I'm going to remove the social, cultural expectations on her. She can have her freedom in that situation. So these personalities, they basically directly oppose one another. So the father's dealing with a what-if reality. So it's a metaphysical what-if reality, or many realities, all the desires of the daughter, right? And then he's dealing with her emotional expression. So that's also metaphysical. So emotions are invisible, right? They're not necessarily, you can't necessarily put a description on them all the time, right? And they're the desires of people. So what they want, these possible realities, are also metaphysical, right? So there's no physical explanation for what a desire could be. It's always unpredictable, right? And then with the daughter, she's dealing with a direct, concrete reality. So her reality is past-based rather than possible-based. It's past-based. So what has happened, past and present. So what has happened, how can I expect this reality to remain the same? What's the color of it? How does it look like? What things I like about it, right? And then what the descriptions are. So the descriptions are also past-based, and they're despite them being intuitive and known intuitively, they are still physical or concrete in the sense that they're descriptive. So these are descriptions of reality, and they're very logical based. So they're based around explaining this reality. So like I explained earlier, there's a direct opposition. So because of this, there's no direct attachment, like I explained with the son and the mother. There's no infinite looping. It's very like, okay, this process is done, and then on to the next one, and then this process is done, and on to the next one. And there's a constant respect communication between them. The daughter says, I want this, and can I have that? And the father says, I can see this possible reality. Yes, you can have that, right? So there's a relationship based on respect. And I will be giving another explanation for all 4 individual personalities or archetypes separately. And like I said earlier, so the daughter represents feelings, so it's ISFP and INTJ. And then the father represents INTP and ISFJ, so he's perceiving her with this. So yeah, that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next portion of the video. So as you guys can see with the father and daughter archetypes, there's a relationship that's based more around respect. And with the father placing and establishing the social order, while the daughter pushing the boundaries of that social order and basically having an emotional expression while doing that. So any form of art and basically bringing in the life of the social order, bringing that social order to life, right? So once again, if you guys like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will be attempting to do a video on all 4 characters and explaining the personality types that are correlated with those characters in the next few videos. So hopefully you guys like this video. This has been Hadi with the Forward Mind, and remember, 2 steps forward, no steps back.